Do you believe there are some things we were never meant to see, Doctor? I believe that our purpose is to understand, to see as much as we can and learn as much as we can. To ask, to question, and to wonder. But you are aware of the opposition to your company's experiments, Doctor. There has always been opposition to progress. Anaxagoras, a philosopher of 5th century BC, was exiled for proposing that the sun was a great big fire and not a deity. When Benjamin Franklin invented the lightning rod, the clergy called it an affront to God's will, stating that lightning was divine. When the first artificial intelligences were invented, they said we were playing God. I suppose we were. Pretty words, but even you can admit your experiments are far different than other innovations of the past, especially concerning the clergy. Perhaps. I still don't understand all the resistance from the church. If anything, I'd have guessed this would have made them quite happy. You have an angel locked in a basement. A lab. And the term is a post-mortemus entity. Why don't we start from the beginning, for my readers? Very well. It began with a study of the brain shortly after death. With tools far more precise than those of the past, we noticed that for 0.048 seconds after death, the sum of all energy present in the subject's brain increased by about 16 joules, before subsiding to 14 joules before the total sum. But that's not the interesting part. The energy came from nowhere. Nothing in the room, the body, or anywhere else gained or lost any amount of energy. We ran the test again and again on over 15 test subjects, and every time the same. Give 15 to 17 joules. Take more. It was mind-boggling. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed, yet there we were. Now, I won't bother explaining the science to you, but indulge me. Okay, we figured out that whatever was taking the energy and giving it back took back a specific percentage of energy available, the same every time, scaled to the size of the brain. It was simpler than you think. If you stuck a wire into the brainstem and shot an enormous amount of electricity into it, you get an enormous amount of electricity back. Sub-miniature cameras showed the portals. The portals. Yes, we didn't see them before because they were too small. When we increased the energy sent and received, the portal increased in size as well. 2 months later, we could stimulate the portals with pulses of energy to keep them open for seconds, inches wide. A month after that, we were able to yank our first object out of the afterlife. A white rock, maybe marble. So, when were you able to get the entities? Patience. I was getting there. There were a few things strange about the rock. For one, it didn't seem to know how much it was supposed to weigh. We weighed it many times. 14 pounds, 29, 982, 0.4. It was different every time. 2, it wasn't composed of atoms. Or anything for that matter. No matter how closely we looked, it was simply rock. There were no gaps, no holes, no subatomic particles, just white rock. It only took a week before we were able to grab our first post-mortem entity. An angel? I believe you would consider it so, yes. Can you describe it for me? It was gorgeous. Terrifying. So very interesting. It was of a colour, no colour I had ever seen before. It burned. A fire that did not burn material but your very mind. It had eyes, none visible, but you could feel all of them staring at you, through you. Tears fell involuntarily from your eyes the longer you looked. If you really focused, I suppose you could compare it to some sort of jellyfish. It never spoke to us, but I could understand. It was confused. How many of them did you capture? The jellyfish-like ones we called whispers. 11 of those. There were others, those we called knives. We only ever took 2 of those. Why? What did the knives look like? The knives could only ever be viewed on a camera. All 6 who saw the first knife were blinded instantly and never spoke another word. The knives, they... Yes? They what? They had teeth. Teeth! So many teeth. They were not violent in a way you'd expect something that looked like them would be. They would try to get you to look at them. They would speak, not in any language. You could never make out the words, but you knew they were speaking. To you, not to anyone else. They were begging you. Think of a child asking you to see their drawing. A mother, arms spread wide, beckoning you. A lover speaking slowly and sultry into your ear. Did you ever take any other entities? Yes. The last one before the government took the project, as you know. What did you call that one? It was the biggest experiment yet. We had the largest post-mortem signal we had ever seen, and we had been saving power for weeks. I watched this one through a screen. Most of us thought it'd be another knife. The entry portal was so big it sliced deep into the walls of the testing room. I have no regrets. I did what any man of science would. But when it came through, I felt as if I had wronged something. Wronged something so deep and ancient and important. Wronged something that understood me more than I had ever understood anything. It felt like you ever sneak out when you were younger? 13 maybe? It felt like when you got home and saw your dad sitting at the dining table waiting for you. The entity, it looked like... You could tell it wasn't the full thing. We had severed something. What did it look like? It looked like a mandible. A mandible? A chelicerae. It spoke. Not in feelings or sense like the others, but actual words. I could only see the mandible for a split second before it morphed, took a new shape. That was when it spoke, a strange clicking sound that I knew as if I had spoken it all my life. Foolish child. And just like that, they were gone. The knives, the whispers, and the last entity vanished from all their containers. So the angel, the whisper, is no longer in the basement? No. That one stayed. We don't know why that one stayed. Did you try and get more? Of course we did. We tried again and again, but it just didn't work anymore. I see. Do you want to know something? What is it? When it said what it said, called me foolish. Yes? It smiled.